Number 5, we must work hard to remove roadblocks. Roadblocks are many things. It could be a CRM tool that's not working. It could be a process that's broken in delivery. It could be F&I managers that are mean and hateful and forgot where they came from. I've met many a mean F&I manager who doesn't realize that they can't do anything until a salesperson does what? Sell a car. It's so important for us to remove those roadblocks because our people know the issues and oftentimes they know the answers. If we just listen and take needed action, what a fresh air it would be for everyone. After an extended time of beating their heads against a roadblock, they give up mentally and they learn to live with it. And we don't get 100% effort anymore. And they have an excuse for their personal failures. And if they fail, we fail, right? We're married at the hip. Number 6, we must give our hearts and our sincere care for them and their families. It's so important for them to know that we genuinely care. Someone once said, once I believe you care about me, I don't care what you know about me. I'll be honest with you if I know you won't use it against me. If I've got a family problem at home and I can confide in you and tell you I have trouble, if I know you'll stand with me and hold me accountable and care for me, I don't mind you knowing. But if you use it against me and berate me, I'm going to hide it from you. And you're not even going to know that I really need encouragement. I need help. And I need you to hold me accountable. That just because I got a problem at home, I don't need a problem at work. Because I got a problem at home and I got a problem at work, guess what? I got a meltdown going on in my life. Because if I don't show up for work and work properly, I might not only have that problem at home, but I'm not going to have money. I'm not going to be able to pay for my bills. So it's so important for us to give our heart. And number 7, give them all the credit. We make this mistake all the time when we take credit from our people. Tom, let me tell you what I did. And our people are standing there listening and go, well, hold on. What did I do? Credit is so important. Give it away. Why does it matter if you give the GM the credit? Give his team the credit. Because guess what, Mr. Dealer, Mr. Leader, Mr. President of your company, you're going to get the paycheck. And as they win, you win. These are powerful lessons that lead to building this great word I love, synergy. Synergy is a simultaneous joint action of separate parties which together have a greater total effect than the sum of individual effects. Someone said a horse pulls 1 ton. 2 horses pull 2 tons? Is that the right math? No. 1 horse pulls 1 ton. 2 horses pulls 4 tons. How can that be possible? Because the combined synergy of 2 horses working together breaks something called inertia. And 4 tons can be pulled. So if we actually pull our people together, create a synergized action and vision together, and everybody buys into the dream, what can we do? Well, we can be like ducks. Look at this. By flying in the V formation, the whole flock adds at least 71% greater flying range than if they flew on their own. Isn't it a shame that birds are smarter than us? Isn't it a shame that a duck can outthink us like this? The only way we get them is with fancy shotguns and crazy shooting, right, Tom? That's how we get those poor guys. But they're smarter than us when it comes to synergy and working together. If one duck becomes hurt, does anybody know what happens? If that duck becomes hurt and stays behind, does anybody know what geese and ducks will do? 2 will stay with them. 2 will stay with the duck until it dies, or it's healthy again. And if it dies, the 2 will join another flock because they stick together, they stay together. If ever we needed to stay together, go back to our dealerships and let our people know that we care about them. It's important. Facts that we need to know. The average customers are going to buy 12 vehicles in their lifetime. The average household is 3 drivers. That means every up's worth 36 potential sales. This came from Carl Sewell in his book, Customers for Life. Do you know that only 10% of customers are ever called after buying a car? 90% never get followed up on America. Only 15% get followed up that don't buy. 85% never get a follow-up call. How sad is this information? 82% of customers can't remember their salesperson's name 12 months later. There's Pedro and Adriana living all over again. Average closing ratio. Did anybody in the room know that the average up closes at 9%? That's the one we're trying to track down with advertising dollars and radio spins and television. The fresh up that comes in and doesn't trust us, there's no relationship. They're going to go to 1.8 dealerships now. Back in the 80s, it was 4.3. Now it's 1.8. They still believe in shopping, even though they've been on the internet up to, 18 months looking and shopping. Internet leads. National closing is somewhere around the 10% number. But let's look at repeats. BBACs. BBACs close at 67%. Repeat customers at 60%. And referrals at 55%. Ladies and gentlemen, how can those numbers be so large when the national closing average is 18.6? Remember in the first of the meeting? I said, if I ask 100 salespeople how many can make a living off of this, only 5% of salespeople can. 95% are looking for this. That's why the low closing. That's why your grosses are off. That's why you're struggling with CSI. If we would get our focus on database management, repeats, referrals, service customers, parts customers, body shop, customers that have touched us, didn't buy, bought another car, but we still were their friends. They left and drove away, and we walked them all the way to the car, opened the car door, helped them back out and waved goodbye. We're still nice to them, even though they didn't buy. Could we change our industry? Could we change our closing ratios? Could you change your gross average per unit? Could you change your CSI numbers? Could you change your financial statement? Could you have that happy face and that happy smile at all times? One other stat that I love to touch very quickly is the buying cycle red zone has now changed. 38% buy a car within 4 hours now, stopping at the first showroom floor. How can that be possible? Well, what have they been doing? They've been shopping on the internet, right? For how long? Crazy, isn't it? So they're not shopping anymore. They're trying to buy now. I know what I want. If I could find a salesperson that cares, that has heart, that connects with me, that I feel has a personal interest in my well-being, and they're not trying to sell me something I don't want or put me in a car I cannot afford, I'm actually going to make a buying decision. 90% buy within a week, 57% within 3 days, and all this is happening because of the internet. These are just some numbers I thought you might be interested in. These come from our research. We have a call center in Houston, Texas. It's been there 18 years. We've called millions of customers over the years. Last year, the average sales rating, we asked customers to rank the salesperson on their professionalism between a scale of 1 to 5. Okay? Now, the beauty of knowing this is our best in class is 4.8, and our average is 4.5. When a dealer first comes on and we first start making those phone calls before they know they're accountable, that number is less than 3%. It's amazing what accountability does. Test drives. National test drive averages for our dealers this year is 62%. Best in class is 86. When our first dealers come on board, and we call customers once they leave and ask them, did you get a test drive, a service walk, a product presentation? Did you meet a manager? What source of advertising brought you in? Did you find a vehicle in stock you'd like to own? And these demo test drive numbers, ladies and gentlemen, range in the 40% range. Because accountability, when we start calling, checking, and you know, and you see the numbers, and you start managing your staff, and accountability starts pushing, guess what they start doing? Demo test drives. When I used Car Research for 11 years and I used this unsold, I didn't sign up with them for their software. I signed up with them for this, for their unsold research, for accountability. And I began to see the numbers. It staggered me. I thought my BMW Mercedes salespeople were amazing. I thought we followed up on everybody. That's what they said they did. I thought we did demos 90% of the time. Service walks, I thought we were crushing it until I got my first numbers back. And we were in the 20% range. And service walk is still a challenge in dealership. The national average, when we first put a dealership on our unsold follow-up, is less than 30% service walks. They're staggering numbers. Look what happens after accountability. Manager TOs, isn't that sick that best in class is only 68? Because we all teach manager TOs, right? Manager X's, we believe they're important. They're not happening at your dealership, ladies and gentlemen. And you may say, well, hold on, I got reports that say that I am. Well, the problem is salespeople believe they're actually helping themselves when they lie to you and say they did and they didn't. And they're actually hurting themselves. And I think we all know that in this room. But process improvement is so important. To go from 41%, this is a specific dealership in 1 month's time, went from 41% to 64% in 1 month. They were already pretty good at product presentations. They had a veteran sales staff. It was a profitable dealership, not a dealership that was broken, but just accountability pushes performance. It's good for all of us. So important. I believe in lifelong learning. I believe in coaching and being coached. And you know, there are certain things in my life that have touched my life that I'll remember forever. I remember my Dale Carnegie training class because I had a brother whose kidneys had failed, and he was trying to get a set of kidneys, couldn't find any anywhere. And I had to give up and give a speech from my heart, and I talked about how bad I wanted my brother to have a set of kidneys. And then I stepped down from that speech, and the Vice President of Gulf States Toyota was there, Vice President of Gulf States Financial Services for Toyota was there, and all these superior, and I'm just a kid. You know, I'm just a kid giving a speech, and I stepped off the stage and went and sat on my chair, and I thought to myself, you know, I haven't done a darn thing about trying to help my brother get a kidney. So I called my brother who lived in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And I said, brother, I want to buy you a ticket. He was actually a minister, preacher. I said, I want to buy you a ticket. I want you to come to Houston. I want to take you to MD Anderson. I want to get you on the kidney transplant list here at MD Anderson. And about 6 months later, we found a kidney for my brother. He did die 10 years later. but he lived 10 years longer because of my effort. Dale Carnegie touched my life. I remember I took a time management course, and I learned that the things that eat up my time during the day is chasing paperwork, putting out fires, and telephone interruptions. Now, when I took this course, we didn't have internet and emails. And God knows we didn't have Facebook and tweeting, and God knows what else is involved now. But I learned those 3 basic things, and I went back to my office and started focusing on controlling phone interruptions, doing a better job with paperwork so I didn't lose it, and I'm going to file it. And I want to prevent forest fires. I want to be like Smokey the Bear instead of like a fireman having to put out fires. Time management changed my life. The Boys Club experience of Leo Martin coming to get me, he turned my whole life around. He taught me to fish. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. The Lexus experience and Horst Schulze. And I found myself running a BMW store first and then a Mercedes store. And I took all of my staff and I took them to the Ritz-Carlton Hotel for behind-the-house training. Body shop estimators, phone operators, receptionists, service advisors, everybody. And we learned ladies and gentlemen, serving ladies and gentlemen. I remember standing in front of my staff and took half one day and half the next. I remember saying to them, what do you think of this place? And they'd never been to the Ritz-Carlton. And they go, oh my God, this place is amazing, boss. And I said, guess what? Our BMW clients, this is where they stay. And if we treat them like you've been treated today, we have only met their expectations. We have never surpassed. So if we want to win the CSI battle in Houston, Texas, we're going to have to be better than this. And it set the benchmark. The last thing that really changed and affected my life forever is while I worked at Sterling McCall Toyota in the late 80s. There was a guy named Kevin Whalen who was then the general manager of Sterling McCall Toyota. He went on to be the president of the Sterling McCall Group. He did the Wall Street show whenever Sterling McCall Toyota joined and they formed and created Group 1 Automotive. Kevin Whalen, I've never heard him be negative in my entire life. I've never heard him raise his voice, never heard him cuss. I watched him eat good food and he worked out. He was married, he was committed, had great character. He was good looking and handsome. He was always upbeat. He was always trying to get inside of my head, and I wanted to keep him out, and he was determined to get in because he saw talent in me. I remember one day we were competing for something called Cash Bash, and I'm finishing. I know I'm past time, and I'll finish now. Thank you, Brian. If y'all bear with me, I'll finish this story. I remember we wanted to go to Cash Bash because at Cash Bash, Toyota gave $1 million in cash away. And the way you earn the money is by selling cars. They brought salespeople, F&I managers, and sales managers. I'm finance director. You know, we're selling 1,200, 1,500 cars a month. But we're going to get some cash at Cash Bash, right? But they rewarded you based on a percentage of penetration and volume. So at that time, we were number 1. We were chasing Longo Toyota in LA. We were number 2 in America, number 1 in the Gulf States region. And we were, Chrysler LeBlanc Toyota was behind us. And I remember going into Kevin one day, and I go, look at this report, Kevin, we're beating Chrysler LeBlanc. And he looked at me and he said, man, and I thought he was going to give me a pat on the back, Sean. I thought he was going to tell me how great we were, Brian. I thought he was going to say, congratulations, Tom. And he looked at me and goes, you know, this is a pretty good job. But he said, here's what I'd like for you to do. He said, I'd like for you to take this report and go back and sit down with your F&I team. And I had 12 people that worked for me and an F&I secretary. He said, go sit down with them and show them, make a copy and give them all the report. And I want you to circle Chrysler LeBlanc. I said, okay, sir. He said, and what I want you to do is I want you to instruct them that your next challenge is to get so far ahead of Chrysler LeBlanc so that they give up on first place and everybody else is fighting for second place. He said, I want you to reach inside of their mind and break their will to win because you're so determined, you're such a great champion. And he said, now when you accomplish that, come back and see me and I'll high-five you and we'll have a celebration. And he sent me back again. Now Kevin affected my life forever. There's no doubt about it. He helped shape me as a manager, as a person, as a man, as a father. Who has changed your life? Can you think back right now to a person who touched your life, that woke you up and you realize, man, maybe I am somebody. It might be your father. It might have been a manager, a next-door neighbor. I learned to play checkers with an old man, and I've never met anybody that could beat me at checkers. I had another friend that taught me to play ping pong, and I did meet a Japanese guy on a cruise ship a couple months ago that beat me every time I played him. But other than that guy, I haven't met many people who could beat me at ping pong because I learned to play ping pong. I learned to play checkers. What about you? Do you have mentors in your life that touched and changed your life and you carry it with you now and you've forgotten the value of that? And that it is your job and your responsibility to be more than just a dealer or a manager or a president or Tom, you're like God at Auto Trader, right? They call you the mad scientist. Whatever. You still have a responsibility to pay it forward, to touch lives, care for people, and be a leader. Bring out the best in them and help them believe in yourself. And see, I love all the stuff that we looked at with Google and KBB and Auto Trader. It's all powerful, but it still is people dealing with people at the end of the day. My favorite story, my last one, the guy won the lottery, sent out an invitation to all of his friends to come for a great party, bought a ranch, built a swimming pool, flew everybody in, had a great party. 2 o'clock, shut the band down. Everybody gather around the swimming pool. Everybody gather around the pool. He said, you'll notice there's 2 alligators in the swimming pool. Thank you all for coming. It's 20 years ago we graduated from high school together, and I won the lottery, and I just wanted y'all to share. And I want to have a little competition. If somebody is willing to jump in that swimming pool with alligators and swim to the other end, I got $1 million and $100 bills in my safe. I got the title to this property, or my daughter's 20. If she'll marry you, you can marry her. And splash, somebody's in the swimming pool, swimming like a crazy man with his shoes and clothes on and everything. And everybody gathers around and goes, come on, you can do it, you can make it. Well, they're swimming and swimming and swimming, and nobody jumped in to help, you understand. They were cheering from the sideline. But he got to the other end of the pool, he crawled out, and his shoes are ripped off, his pants are ripped, his socks are ripped, and he's bleeding, he's laying on the side of the pool, and the guy runs over and he goes, oh my God, I can't believe somebody did, it's amazing, but you got out alive. What would you, $1 million? You want the million, or you want the title of the property, you want my daughter's hand in marriage? The guy said, hold on a minute, I want to know who pushed me in that swimming pool. Now, the moral of that story is, the great thing about America, the land of opportunity and capitalism, at its best, we do what we do because we choose to do it. You chose to do what you do. And since you chose it, nobody pushed you in. You're in it. Why not be the best you can be? Why not be a leader and a mentor? Why not bring your heart to work? Tom, if you hadn't brought your heart, you wouldn't have done what you did with Morton's. Did you say $400 million a year? What was that number? $400 million in revenue. Went from 8 to 89 in all these countries. Tom, I look at what you've done with Auto Trader, man. What a great job. You did it with your heart and leadership. Thank you all for listening. I'm sorry. I know you're hungry. God bless y'all. Thank you for your time. Brian, I'll turn to you. Thank you so much.